The Whispering Shadows * Part 1. The Arrival * The Journey Begins. * It was an early autumn morning in Portland, Oregon. The air carried a sharp chill, and the sky was painted in muted grays with patches of pale sunlight pushing through. 3 friends, Lena, Eric, and Marco, were packing their rented SUV. Their spirits high with excitement. They had been talking about this trip for weeks. College life had left them little time for each other, and now, with a short break, they were determined to escape into the wild. Their destination, the deep Oregon forests, where they planned to camp for 2 nights. Lena was the most adventurous of the trio. Bright, curious, always chasing after mysteries. She had been the one to suggest the trip. Eric, the rational one, trusted logic and technology more than stories. Ghosts, monsters, curses, he laughed at all of them. Marco was the light-hearted one. Cheerful, but admittedly a little timid. Still, he never refused an adventure if his friends were going. All right, Lena said as she jumped into the driver's seat. Let's hit the road. Marco fastened his seatbelt, glancing nervously at the forested mountains in the distance. Just so you know, he said half-jokingly, if anything creepy happens, I'm out. Eric rolled his eyes and smirked. Relax, there's no such thing as ghosts. We're just camping. The SUV rolled out of Portland, leaving behind the buzz of traffic and the hum of city life. Slowly, the landscape transformed, tall pines replacing concrete buildings. Winding roads climbing into misty foothills. The warning sign, 2 hours into the drive. Marco pointed out of the window. Hey, what's that? Stop the car. Lena pulled over, and the 3 stepped out. On the side of the road stood an old, rusted sign. The paint was peeling, but the words were still legible. Black Pine Forest, State Restricted Area. Entry not advised after dusk. The letters looked weather-worn. The edges of the board eaten by rust. Lena read it aloud, raising her eyebrows. Not advised after dusk. That sounds ominous. Eric chuckled. Come on, it's just standard safety stuff. Wild animals, poor visibility, maybe unstable ground. That's all. Marco frowned, his voice uneasy. Still, doesn't it feel old? Like this sign has been here for decades. Lena snapped a picture with her phone. Perfect. If I ever write a scary story about this trip, this will be Exhibit A*. With that. They climbed back into the car, ignoring the lingering chill the sign left in their minds. As they drove further in, the road grew narrower, hemmed in by towering trees. Their cell phones lost signal one by one. The GPS flickered, struggling to track them. Setting up camp. By late afternoon, they found a clearing. It was flat, spacious, surrounded by tall pines that seemed to stretch endlessly into the sky. To one side lay a dried riverbed, its cracked soil a reminder of water long gone. This looks perfect, Lena declared. They pitched their tents, gathered firewood, and soon had a small campfire burning. Lena brewed hot chocolate in a camping pot. Marco strummed a few chords on his guitar, and Eric roamed the perimeter, making sure everything was secure. As the sun dipped, The forest was bathed in a reddish glow. Birds quieted. Even the wind seemed to still. The silence pressed in, heavy and unnatural. This place feels too quiet, Lena said softly. Natural peace, Eric countered. Enjoy it. You don't get this in the city. Marco stopped playing guitar and lowered his voice. Still, I swear it feels like we're being watched. Before anyone could answer, a sound split the silence. Crack, crack. The unmistakable snap of dry twigs. The three froze. Eric grabbed his flashlight and beamed it toward the trees. Nothing. Just mist curling between trunks and shadows that shifted with the FIRELIGHT. Probably a deer, Eric muttered. But there was a thin edge to his voice. Whispers, in the dark. Dinner was simple sandwiches and soup heated over the fire. Afterward, they crawled into their tents, zipped themselves into sleeping bags, and tried to rest. The night air was biting cold. Outside, the forest seemed to breathe in slow, heavy sighs. Somewhere past midnight, Lena's eyes snapped open. She heard it. A whisper. Leah G. Her heart lurched. She glanced sideways. Eric and Marco were asleep, their breathing steady. The whisper came again, closer this time. Lena. Hands trembling, she unzipped the tent flap just a few inches and peeked out. The clearing was blanketed in fog. And there between two pines stood a figure. Tall, distorted, its arms unnaturally long, bent at odd angles, dragging toward the ground like roots. Its face. It had no face. Only darkness. Lena froze. A scream caught in her throat. But as suddenly as it appeared, the figure dissolved into the mist. She zipped the tent shut, heart hammering. Maybe it was a dream. Maybe, but in another tent, Eric stirred awake. He wasn't sure if he had dreamed it, but he could have sworn he heard a voice whispering in his ear. You shouldn't be here. The morning sign. At dawn, the camp was eerily still. Lena debated telling the others, but held back, convincing herself it had to be her imagination. Over breakfast, Marco broke the silence. Did either of you hear anything last night? I swear I heard footsteps around us. Eric tried to shrug it off, though his eyes betrayed unease. Animals, probably. Then Lena noticed it. On the ground beside their tents. The dirt was torn apart by deep gouges, if raked by massive claws. But the gouges weren't random. They spelled out a word. Leave. The three stared at the ground in silence, their stomachs knotting with fear. Deeper into the forest. Despite Marco's protests, Lena insisted they explore deeper. We came here for adventure. Maybe there's an explanation. Eric, curious despite himself, agreed. Reluctantly, Marco followed. They trekked under the canopy, the trees blotting out the sun. The air grew colder, damp. Every step crunched over dead leaves and brittle twigs. After half an hour, Lena stopped. Something half buried in the dirt caught her eye. A chunk of wood, carved with strange circles intersected by three vertical lines. Asterisk Eric knelt to examine it. Looks like Native American tribal markings. Old. Very old. Asterisk Marco swallowed hard. Maybe it's a warning. We shouldn't asterisk, but before he could finish, Lena had already pressed forward. Asterisk the cabin. Asterisk the forest opened into a clearing. There, slouched like a wounded animal, stood an old wooden cabin. Its roof sagged, windows shattered, door hanging ajar. Weeds choked the walls. Asterisk, oh my God, Lena whispered. This is amazing. Asterisk, they stepped inside. The smell hit them first: mold, rot, and something faintly metallic. The floor groaned beneath their boots. Asterisk, a broken table and chair lay overturned. Cobwebs clung to every corner. On the walls hung faded photographs, their images too blurred with age to make out the faces. Asterisk, on the table lay a book, a diary. Asterisk, Eric picked it up, brushing off dust. The leather cover was cracked, the pages yellowed. He opened to the first entry and read aloud. Asterisk, they come at night. They whisper, I cannot leave. Asterisk, a shiver ran through them. Marco's voice was barely audible. We need to get out of here. Asterisk, but before they could move, a sound echoed outside. Asterisk, crack, crack. Asterisk, closer this time. Asterisk, the cliffhanger. Asterisk, the three froze. Asterisk, through the doorway, a shape emerged in the fog, taller than before. Its twisted body loomed, dragging itself with arms like tree roots. Asterisk, one step closer, and the cabin shuddered. Asterisk, the voice came again, low and guttural, rattling the air. Asterisk, you cannot stay here. Leave now, or... Asterisk, the words cut off. Asterisk, the temperature inside the cabin plummeted. Their breath turned white. The diary in Eric's hands fluttered open on its own, pages whipping violently until it slammed onto the very last one. Asterisk scrawled across the final page, in dark crimson streaks, was a single word. Asterisk, run. Asterisk, end of part 1. Part 2, the forest shifts. Asterisk, panic in the cabin. Asterisk. The word on the diary's final page seemed to burn in Eric's hands. Run. Asterisk, for a moment, no one moved. The air inside the cabin was so cold that their breath hung in pale clouds. The distorted figure in the mist outside loomed closer, its elongated arms dragging across the ground, the sound of wood scraping stone echoing with each step. Asterisk, out the back. Lena whispered, her voice trembling. Asterisk, they stumbled over the warped floorboards, shoving past the broken furniture toward a half-rotted back door. Eric yanked at the handle. The wood splintered, giving way with a violent crack. They spilled out into the fog. Asterisk, the forest outside was no longer the same forest they had entered. The trees leaned unnaturally close, their trunks twisted like coiled bodies. The mist clung to their skin, damp and suffocating. Asterisk, which way? Marco cried, spinning in circles. Asterisk, just move. Lena shouted. Asterisk, they bolted into the trees, branches clawing at their clothes, roots snaring their boots. Behind them came the heavy, dragging steps, slow but relentless. Asterisk, the loop. Asterisk, after what felt like 20 minutes of running, they burst into a clearing. Their chests heaved, lungs burning. Asterisk, and then Lena froze. Asterisk, it was the same clearing. The same cabin sagged at the edge, its windows shattered, the front door hanging open. Asterisk, no. Marco whispered. No, 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 we ran straight. How can we be back here? Asterisk, Eric turned in a slow circle, panic creeping into his logical mind. It's impossible. The forest is looping. Asterisk, from the cabin doorway, the shadow figure stood, silent, waiting. Asterisk, we can't just stand here. Lena hissed. She grabbed Marco's hand and pulled him toward a new path, away from the cabin. Eric followed, his flashlight beam jerking wildly. Asterisk, the whispers multiply. Asterisk, the deeper they went, the darker it became, though the sky should still have been holding the last light of evening. The mist thickened into walls, limiting their vision to only a few feet. Asterisk, then the whispers began. Asterisk, not one voice, many, layered, overlapping speaking words they could not understand. Some sounded like weeping, others like laughter. Asterisk, Marco clamped his hands over his ears. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Asterisk, it's not real, Eric said through gritted teeth, though his own hands trembled. It's just sound carries weird in forests. It's in our heads. Asterisk, but Lena shook her head. No. It knows our names. Asterisk, because beneath the jumble of voices, one rose clear. A deep, rasping murmur. Asterisk, Lena, Eric, Marco. Asterisk, they froze. Asterisk, branches snapped to their right. Something moved parallel to them in the fog, too fast and too large to be human. Asterisk, Marco alone. Asterisk, keep moving. Lena shouted. Asterisk, they ran again, stumbling through roots and briars. The voices grew louder, now echoing from every direction. Asterisk, and then Marco screamed. Asterisk, when Lena and Eric spun around, he was gone. His flashlight lay on the ground, its beam cutting across empty trees. Asterisk, Marco. Lena shouted, panic breaking through her voice. Asterisk, don't shout, Eric hissed. It'll hear us. Asterisk, but it was too late. A high-pitched shriek split the night. Not human, not animal, something between a roar and a scream. Asterisk, they dove into the brush, pressing against the cold earth. Lena covered her mouth to stifle her sobs. The sound of footsteps, too many, circling them, moved closer. Asterisk, and then silence. Asterisk, a moment later, Marco's voice drifted through the mist. Asterisk, Lena, Eric. This way. Asterisk, Lena almost leaped up, but Eric grabbed her arm. His face was pale, eyes wide. Asterisk, that's not him. Asterisk, the voice called again, perfectly mimicking Marco's tone, but stretched too thin, the syllables wrong. Asterisk, come, this way. Asterisk, the real Marco. Asterisk, they held still, waiting. Minutes dragged like hours. Finally, from the opposite direction, the bushes rustled. A figure stumbled out, coughing, clutching his side. Asterisk, it was Marco. Mud streaked his face, his clothes torn, but his eyes were wild with terror. Asterisk, don't listen to it, he gasped. It tried to, oh God. Asterisk, before he could finish, another figure stepped into view behind him. Asterisk, the same Marco, same clothes, same torn cheek, same mud-stained shoes. Asterisk, the two stood side by side in the fog, identical down to every detail. One breathing hard, clutching his ribs. The other unnaturally still, eyes too dark. Asterisk run, whispered the first Marco. Asterisk, the second Marco tilted its head at an unnatural angle. Its lips curled into a smile far too wide. Asterisk, that decided it. Lena screamed, and the three friends sprinted without looking back. Asterisk, the burial ground. Asterisk, by the time they stopped, their legs shook from exhaustion. They had no idea where they roamed, that the cabin was gone, the looping path broken. Asterisk, they stumbled into another clearing. This one was different. Asterisk, the ground was uneven. Mounds of earth scattered in rows. Weather-worn wooden markers jutted from the soil, some carved with crude symbols, others blank. Asterisk, it's a graveyard, Eric whispered. Asterisk, Lena knelt, brushing leaves off one marker. The wood was carved with the same symbol she had found earlier, the circle with 3 vertical lines. Asterisk, on another marker. Faint words were etched, barely visible. Asterisk, taken by the whisperers. Asterisk, the air here was heavier, pressing down on their lungs. Marco shivered violently. We shouldn't be here. We shouldn't. Asterisk, but Lena was staring at something half buried in the soil. Bones. Human bones. The ribcage twisted, the skull cracked. Asterisk, Eric pulled her back. Enough, we're leaving. Asterisk, but as he turned, every marker around them shuddered. The earth split, and from the shallow graves rose shapes. Asterisk, figures made of mist and shadow, their faces hollow, their limbs crooked. One by one, they lifted their heads toward the 3 friends. Asterisk, and the whispers became screams. Asterisk marked. Asterisk, they fled again, tripping over roots and stones, barely keeping their balance. The screams chased them, filling the forest, vibrating in their bones. Asterisk, at last, they collapsed beside a stream, gulping air. For a moment, there was only the sound of rushing water. Asterisk, then Eric hissed, Linner arm. Asterisk, she looked down. Her sleeve was torn, though she had no memory of being cut. Across her skin, raw and red, was a mark. 3 vertical lines inside a circle. The same symbol from the markers. Asterisk, Lena's stomach dropped. No. 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 Asterisk, Marco backed away from her, shaking his head. It's marked you. They've chosen you. Asterisk, that's not real. Eric snapped, though his voice cracked. It's just a scratch. Asterisk, but even as he spoke, the mark pulsed faintly, as if alive. Asterisk, and then, from the darkness of the trees, came a chorus of voices in unison, louder than ever. Asterisk, she is ours. Asterisk, the cliffhanger. Asterisk, the fog rolled thicker, swallowing the stream, the trees, even the stars above. Asterisk, figures emerged at the edges of the mist, dozens of them. Their hollow faces turned toward Lena. Their whispers rattled the air, growing into a deafening chant. Asterisk, Eric and Marco pulled her between them, but the ground trembled underfoot. The forest itself seemed to twist, closing in. Asterisk, and then, in the center of the clearing, the earth split open. A dark void yawned beneath them, reeking of damp soil and decay. From it rose a shape larger than all the others, its body formed of writhing shadows, its arms stretching wide like the roots of an ancient tree. Asterisk, the chant stopped. Silence fell, heavy and absolute. Asterisk, the towering figure pointed one twisted arm directly at Lena. Asterisk, and in a voice that rattled the ground. It spoke a single command. Asterisk, come. Part 3. The last night asterisk, the summons asterisk, the forest trembled as the massive shadow pointed at Lena. Asterisk, come. Asterisk, the sound wasn't just heard, it was felt. Rattling through their bones, vibrating in their skulls. Lena staggered forward, as though pulled by invisible strings. Her eyes glazed, her legs moving without her control. Asterisk, Lena, no. Eric grabbed her arm, but the mark on her skin pulsed red hot. She screamed in pain, jerking out of his grasp. Asterisk, Marco lunged, wrapping his arms around her waist. Hold her. Asterisk, together, they dragged her back from the edge of the gaping void. The towering figure shrieked, a sound that shredded the silence and sent the smaller shadow figures swarming closer. Asterisk, dozens of them ringed the clearing. Their hollow faces turned inward, whispers rising like a storm. Asterisk, we have to move, Eric shouted. Asterisk, flight through the dark. Asterisk, they plunged into the trees again, Lena half dragged, half running between them. The forest twisted around them, paths folding into each other, but the clearing behind them never seemed to grow more distant. The voices still echoed, always close. Asterisk, Lena sobbed, I can hear them in my head. Asterisk, what are they saying? Marco asked, breathless. Asterisk, they're telling me it's already too late. Asterisk, Eric gritted his teeth. Don't listen. They're trying to break you. Asterisk, but even as he said it, the whispers crawled into his own ears. His father's voice, long dead, calling his name. His childhood fears brought to life. He shook his head violently. It's not real. It's not real. Asterisk, the trees parted suddenly, revealing something new. Asterisk, the second cabin. Asterisk, it was another cabinor, maybe the same one rebuilt by Nightmare. This one stood whole, its windows unbroken, its door shut tight. A lantern glowed faintly inside. Asterisk, they exchanged glances. Marco shook his head furiously. Oh, no way. We're not going back in there. Asterisk, but Lena's mark flared again, and she cried out, clutching her arm. The heat drove her forward. She stumbled up the steps before Eric and Marco could stop her and shoved the door open. Asterisk, inside. The cabin was warm, the air strangely calm. A fire burned in the hearth, though no one had lit it. On the table lay the diary again, its cover closed. Asterisk, Eric approached cautiously. He picked it up, thumbing through the pages. New entries were there now, ones that hadn't existed before. Asterisk, they marked her, as they marked me. The circle binds. The lines claim. One will be taken so the others may leave. Asterisk, his blood ran cold. It's a sacrifice. Asterisk, Marco's face drained of color. What does that mean? Asterisk, Eric swallowed hard. It means one of us has to stay here, forever. Asterisk, the bargain. Asterisk, the whispers outside grew louder, pressing against the walls of the cabin. The lantern flickered. Asterisk, Lena hugged herself, tears streaking her face. It's me. I'm already marked. If I go, you too can escape. Asterisk, no. Marco snapped. His voice broke. We don't leave you here. Eric's jaw clenched. He wanted to say something logical, something scientific, but there was no logic left. Only survival. We don't know if it's true, he said. Maybe the diary's just part of the curse, trying to manipulate us. But the words felt hollow. Deep down, he believed it. The mark on Lena's arm pulsed again, brighter this time. She screamed and collapsed to her knees. The fire roared higher in the hearth, shadows stretching across the walls like grasping hands. Then, the voice came again, shaking the cabin itself. Choose. Marco's desperation. Panic broke them. Marco turned on Eric wild-eyed. You're the smart one, fix this. Find another way. Eric shook his head helplessly. There is no other way. It wants one of us. Marco grabbed the diary and hurled it into the fire. The flames swallowed it whole, pages curling into ash. For a heartbeat, silence reigned. Then the fire exploded outward, black smoke filling the cabin. The whispers became laughter, cruel, mocking. Lena writhed on the floor, the mark spreading like veins of fire across her arm and shoulder. Stop it. Marco screamed. Take me instead. The laughter paused. For the first time, the whispers seemed to listen. The shadows at the windows froze, their hollow faces turning toward the cabin. The deep voice rumbled again. Willing. Marco looked at his friends, tears streaking his face. If it lets you live, I'll do it. The ritual. The floorboards split beneath Marco's feet. The void opened, black and endless. Cold wind howled up from its depths. Shadowy hands reached from the darkness, wrapping around his ankles. He gasped but didn't fight, staring at Lena. Live, please. No. Lena clawed toward him, Eric holding her back. Marco, don't. But the shadows dragged him down. His body sank into the floor as though it were water. His last scream echoed, then was swallowed by the void. The cabin shook violently. The mark on Lena's arm faded, leaving only a faint scar. The whispers quieted to a low murmur. Eric pulled Lena into his arms, both of them sobbing. The hearth fire died. The cabin was empty again. Escape. When they stepped outside, the forest was silent. The mist thinned. The oppressive cold lifted. For the first time since arriving, the night sky was visible, stars scattered across the black. The path was clear now. A trail leading straight back toward where they had camped. They walked in silence, grief heavy between them. Neither dared speak Marco's name. Hours later. As dawn tinged the sky with gray, they found the clearing where their tents still stood, undisturbed. Their SUV waited at the edge of the dirt road. They climbed in, driving without pause. Desperate to put miles between themselves and black pine forest. The return. Back in Portland. The world seemed almost unreal, cars honking, people laughing on sidewalks. The smell of coffee drifting from corner shops. Eric dropped Lena at her apartment. Their goodbye hollow, heavy with the unspoken. We survived, he said softly. Asterisk. Lena nodded, eyes empty. But he didn't. Asterisk. They parted without another word. Asterisk. Epilogue. Asterisk. That night, Lena sat alone in her room. She couldn't sleep. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Marco's face as he was dragged under. Asterisk. She rubbed her arm absent-mindedly, tracing the scar where the mark had been. It tingled faintly, an itch she couldn't ignore. Asterisk. With a sigh, she turned on her lamp. That's when she saw it. Asterisk. On her desk lay the diary. The same diary Eric had burned in the cabin. Its cover was whole, its pages unscorched. Asterisk. Her blood turned to ice. She reached out with shaking hands, opening to the last page. Asterisk. In fresh, wet ink, a new line had been written. Asterisk. The first sacrifice delays the hunger, but it never ends. Soon, another will be called. Asterisk. The light flickered. Asterisk. And in the corner of her room, in the shadow that should not have been there, something whispered her name. Asterisk. Liana. Part 4. The hunger spreads. Asterisk. The haunting begins. Asterisk. For 3 days, Lena tried to pretend that life was normal. Classes resumed, the hum of Portland traffic filled her ears, and the city lights drowned out the darkness of the forest. Yet nothing felt right. Asterisk. Everywhere she went, she caught glimpses, figures in alleyways, faces reflected in windows that weren't her own. Her scar itched constantly, as though invisible claws scratched from beneath the skin. Asterisk. Eric checked on her once, but he looked worse than she did. His eyes were ringed with shadows. His words rushed and disjointed. Asterisk. They didn't let us go, he muttered outside her apartment. We didn't escape, Lena. Marco's still with them. He's calling me at night. Asterisk. Lena swallowed hard. We can't think like that. If we do, we'll lose our minds. Asterisk. Eric's gaze darted down the street, watching shadows move where there were none. It's already too late. Asterisk. Marco's voice. Asterisk. That night, Lena woke to the sound of her phone buzzing. Groggy, she checked the screen. Unknown caller? Asterisk. She hesitated, then answered. Asterisk. Static filled her ear, followed by a broken, ragged whisper. Asterisk. Lena. Asterisk. Her blood froze. It was Marco's voice. Asterisk. Help me. The voice croaked. I can't see. It's so dark. Asterisk. Her hand shook Marco. Where are you? Asterisk. The line cracked, distorted. Then another voice layered over his low, guttural, inhuman. Asterisk. He is ours. Soon, you will be too. Asterisk. The call ended. Asterisk. Lena dropped the phone, curling into herself. Tears blurred her vision. No matter how far she was from Black Pine Forest, the whispers followed. Asterisk. The first death. Asterisk. 2 days later, the news broke. Asterisk. A student from their campus had been found dead in his dorm room. No signs of struggle. The coroner reported severe internal trauma but no wounds on the outside. Asterisk. Eric called Lena immediately. Did you see? It's them. They're here. Asterisk. That doesn't mean. Asterisk. They marked us, Lena. It's not just you. I saw Marco last night. He was standing at the foot of my bed. Asterisk. Lena pressed a hand over her scar. It burned beneath her skin. We need help. Someone who knows what this is. Asterisk Eric laughed bitterly. Who? A priest? A scientist? No one can stop them. Asterisk, but even as he said it, Lena's mind raced. The diary had mentioned others. Someone had written those words before, which meant someone else had survived long enough to record them. Asterisk, maybe there was a way. Asterisk, research. Asterisk. Lena buried herself in the university library, poring through archives and local history records. Hours blurred together as she flipped through brittle newspapers. Old maps, forgotten folklore journals. Asterisk finally. She found a thread, an old Native American legend from the Clatsop people. Asterisk, the story spoke of the Whisperers. Spirits bound to the forest after a massacre centuries ago. Settlers had slaughtered a tribe during the winter, burying them in shallow graves beneath the pines. The spirits rose, hungry and vengeful, feeding on those who entered their land. Asterisk every generation, the curse demanded a sacrifice. One life to delay their hunger. But if denied, their reach would spread beyond the forest. Asterisk Lena's hands trembled as she read. The last recorded account was from the 1920s. 3 hunters disappeared. Only one returned, babbling about voices in the mist. Asterisk, she snapped photos of every page. Heart pounding. Asterisk, Eric's collapse. Asterisk, when she showed Eric, he barely looked at the evidence. His apartment was dark, curtains drawn, the air stale. Asterisk, they're already inside, he whispered, rocking in his chair. I hear Marco every hour. Sometimes I hear my mother too. They know what I fear. They're peeling me apart, piece by piece. Asterisk Lena grabbed his shoulders. Listen to me. We can end this. We have to go back. The legend says the hunger can be sealed again. Asterisk, Eric's eyes darted to her scar. Or maybe it's already too late for you. Maybe you'll be the next sacrifice. Asterisk Eric. Asterisk, but he pulled away, trembling. Leave, before they make me hurt you. Asterisk, the return to the forest. Asterisk Lena had no choice. She packed supplies, flashlights, food, a hunting knife and drove alone back toward the mountains. Asterisk, the highway thinned into dirt roads, then into the narrow trail she remembered. Every mile deeper felt like a descent into something ancient and waiting. Asterisk, when she reached the rusted sign, entry not advised, after dusk, her stomach turned. But she pressed on. Asterisk, the forest greeted her like an old enemy. The mist slithered between the trees, the air cold and damp. The same clearing appeared, as though time had not passed at all. Asterisk, the cabin stood there, broken and sagging, waiting. Asterisk, Lena stepped inside. The diary lay on the table again. She opened it with shaking hands. Asterisk, a new line glistened on the page. Asterisk, welcome back, Lena. Asterisk, Marco's return. Asterisk, the shadows stirred at the edges of the room. Lena spun, knife raised. Asterisk, and then she saw him. Asterisk, Marco. Asterisk, his face pale, eyes hollow, but it was him. He stepped from the mist, reaching toward her. You came back. You can save me. Asterisk, her breath caught. Marco. Asterisk, he nodded, though his movements were stiff, unnatural. All you have to do is stay with me. We'll be together again. Asterisk, her grip on the knife faltered. Tears welled in her eyes. She wanted to believe him. She needed to. Asterisk, but then his smile stretched too wide. His eyes darkened to empty pits. Asterisk, the voice that came from his mouth was not his own. Asterisk, stay, and you will feed us forever. Asterisk, the fire. Asterisk, Lena screamed and slashed with the knife. The figure dissolved into shadow, shrieking. The cabin shuddered as the whispers rose, furious. Asterisk, she grabbed the lantern from the table and hurled it into the wall. Flames erupted, crawling up the rotted wood. Asterisk, the whispers screamed, dozens of voices howling in rage. Shadows surged toward her, but the fire spread faster, consuming the cabin. Asterisk, Lena ran, stumbling into the forest as smoke billowed behind her. The ground trembled. Trees cracked. The entire forest seemed alive, writhing. Asterisk, but she didn't stop. Asterisk, the final chase. Asterisk, the mist thickened, blinding her. Figures emerged from it, dozens of them hollow-faced, reaching with arms like branches. They closed in on every side. Asterisk, the scar on her arm burned so hot, she nearly fainted. Her legs gave out, and she fell to her knees. Asterisk, the ground split before her, the void opening once more. From it rose the towering shadow, arms outstretched. Asterisk, come. Asterisk, her scream tore through the night. She forced herself up, running blindly, but the ground tilted, pulling her back toward the chasm. Asterisk, hands wrapped around her ankle. She kicked, sobbing, dragging herself forward. Asterisk, and then dash headlights. Asterisk, a car. Asterisk, Eric's car. Asterisk, he burst from the mist, headlights cutting through the darkness. Lena. Asterisk, she lunged toward him. He grabbed her arm, hauling her into the passenger seat. Asterisk, the SUV roared to life, tires spitting mud as they tore down the forest path. Asterisk, behind them, the shadows shrieked. The void closed, the forest trembling in fury. Asterisk, the Escapor, not Asterisk. They didn't stop driving until the trees thinned and the dawn broke over the highway. Both of them were shaking, pale, silent. Asterisk, finally, Lena whispered, "You came back." Asterisk, Eric's hands were white-knuckled on the wheel. "I couldn't let you face it alone." Asterisk, they drove for hours in silence. City towers eventually rising on the horizon. Asterisk, Lena leaned back, closing her eyes. Maybe it was over. Maybe the fire had weakened them. Maybe Asterisk, Eric's voice broke her thoughts. Asterisk, Lena. When you were in the forest, did you see Marco? Asterisk, her eyes opened slowly. Yes. Asterisk, Eric's hands trembled. So did I. He's here with us now. Asterisk, Lena turned, horrified. In the back seat, for just a moment, she saw him. Pale, smiling, eyes hollow. Asterisk, Marco. Asterisk, and then the whisper filled the car, surrounding them. Asterisk, the hunger never ends. Asterisk, the road stretched ahead, endless. And the shadows came with them. Part 5. The City Awakens. Asterisk, shadows in Portland. Asterisk, the forest had not stayed in Oregon's mountains. It came back with them. Asterisk, in Portland, Lena noticed it first. A faint mist rolling through the streets on nights too warm for fog. Whispers curling in the corners of subway stations. Faces hollow and pale reflected in the glass of downtown skyscrapers. Asterisk, Eric noticed too, though he tried not to admit it. He hadn't been sleeping. His hands shook when he poured coffee. At work, his coworkers avoided him, whispering about how he muttered to himself, how he seemed to stare at empty corners as though someone stood there. One night, when Lena came to his apartment, she found every mirror smashed. Shards scattered across the floor. They watch me, he said simply, sitting cross-legged in the mess. I won't give them the chance. Marco's ghost. It wasn't just hallucinations anymore. Marco followed them. Lena saw him in her apartment doorway, pale and grinning. Eric heard his voice in the shower drain, whispering his name over and over until he screamed. One night. They both saw him together. They were sitting in a cafe, clinging to the normalcy of coffee and chatter, when Marco walked past the window. Same jacket he had worn in the forest. Same hollow eyes. He didn't look at them. He didn't have to. His smile was enough. Eric dropped his cup. Coffee spilled across the table, steaming. We didn't escape, he whispered. Lena's scar flared hot, the skin glowing faintly beneath her sleeve. The first victim. That weekend, the city reported its first strange death. A jogger found collapsed in the park. No signs of assault, but his organs had liquefied inside his body. The news called it a medical mystery. Lena and Eric knew better. It's spreading, Lena said, pacing her living room. The diary said if the hunger wasn't satisfied, it would grow. Marco wasn't enough. They're feeding now. Eric pressed his fists into his eyes. Then what do we do? Burn the whole forest. Call the cops and tell them ghosts are eating people. Lena slammed her hand on the table. We go back. We end it. Eric laughed bitterly. You said that last time. We tried fire. We tried running. And Marco, his voice cracked. Marco still died. Lena's eyes hardened. Then we find another way. There has to be one. The professor, desperate. Lena tracked down a folklore professor at the university, Dr. Eleanor Reyes, who had studied Pacific Northwest legends for decades. Reyes listened quietly as Lena recounted the story, the forest, the cabin, the diary, the sacrifice. When Lena finished, the professor didn't laugh. She didn't dismiss her. Instead, she leaned back, pale, and whispered, I hoped this would never happen again. She retrieved an old file, yellowed with age. Inside were photographs of the forest, news clippings of vanished hikers, and a map marked with symbols. The whisperers, Reyes said. They are bound by blood. Every sacrifice buys time, but it never ends. Unless, Lena leaned forward. Unless what? Reyes hesitated. Unless the marked one willingly returns and severs the bond. Only then can the spirits rest. Lena froze. The scar on her arm burned as if agreeing. Eric's breakdown. When Lena told Eric, he snapped. No, he said, pacing furiously. You're not doing it. They'll kill you. It's the only way, Lena insisted. The professor said, She doesn't know. She's just another academic digging through myths. You'll go back, and they'll devour you. And I'll be alone. Asterisk. He broke off, trembling, tears streaming down his face. Asterisk. Lena softened. Eric, if we don't stop this, the whole city will suffer. Do you want Marco's death to mean nothing? Asterisk. Eric slammed his fist into the wall. Damn it, Lena. Asterisk. Silence hung heavy. Asterisk. Finally, he whispered. Then I'm going with you. Asterisk. The journey back. Asterisk. They left at dawn, driving in silence. The highway stretched long and gray, the city shrinking in the rearview mirror. Asterisk. By noon, the forest loomed ahead. Mist curled between the trees, waiting. Asterisk. Lena's scar burned steadily now, guiding her like a beacon. Eric gripped the wheel tightly, his knuckles white. Asterisk. This is it, Lena murmured. Asterisk. Eric swallowed. One way or another. Asterisk. The ritual site. Asterisk. They didn't return to the cabin this time. The scar led them deeper, to a place neither had seen before, a circle of blackened stones. Ancient and cracked, arranged around a pit of ash. Asterisk. The air here was thicker. Heavier, every breath like inhaling smoke. Shadows gathered at the edges of the circle, dozens of them, whispering hungrily. Asterisk. In the pit lay the diary unburned, its cover pristine. Asterisk. Lena stepped forward. This is where it ends. Asterisk. The ground trembled. From the pit, the towering shadow rose again. Arms stretching like tree limbs, eyes burning hollow. Asterisk. Come. Asterisk. The decision. Asterisk. Lena turned to Eric, tears brimming. This is what I have to do. If I give myself, it ends. Asterisk. Eric shook his head violently. No, we'll find another way. Will. Asterisk. But Marco's voice cut through the whispers. Asterisk. Eric. Asterisk. They both froze. Asterisk. Marco stood just beyond the circle, pale and broken. His voice was soft, pleading. You let me go. Don't let her, please. One of you has to live. Asterisk. Eric's face crumpled. Marco. Asterisk. Lena clenched her fists. It's not him, it's them. Asterisk. But Marco's eyes empty, though they were still looked like their friends. Asterisk. The sacrifice. Asterisk. The shadows surged, pressing closer. The towering figure roared, shaking the trees. Asterisk. Eric grabbed Lena's hands. If you go, I go too. Asterisk. Her heart shattered. No, you have to live. You have to tell people. End the cycle. Asterisk. He kissed her forehead, tears falling. I can't lose you too. Asterisk. Before she could stop him, Eric stepped into the circle. The shadows screamed, swirling around him. His body convulsed, eyes wide with terror. Asterisk. Eric. Lena shrieked. Asterisk. The ground split, the pit widening. Eric's body was dragged down, swallowed by darkness. His final cry echoed, then was gone. Asterisk. The shadows froze. The towering figure trembled. And then, slowly, it sank back into the pit. Asterisk. Silence fell. Asterisk. The mist thinned. The scar on Lena's arm faded to nothing. Asterisk. It was over. Asterisk. Or was it? Asterisk. Lena stumbled from the circle, alone. The forest was quiet now, peaceful. Asterisk. She walked until she found the trail, then the car. She drove in silence, the city rising in the distance. Asterisk, when she reached her apartment, she collapsed onto her bed, sobbing, until exhaustion claimed her. Asterisk, that night, she dreamed of Eric and Marco, both smiling, both free. Asterisk, she woke with tears on her cheeks. Asterisk, relief flooded her until she saw it. Asterisk, on her desk, the diary. Asterisk, a new line scrawled across the last page. Asterisk, one sacrifice ends the hunger. Another begins it. Asterisk, the scar burned back into her skin, hotter than ever. Asterisk, and from the corner of the room, the whisper came again. Asterisk, Leona.